So I was 30 when I joined the Army. Military background, my dad was in the Air Force, and so it was that really the controlled environment that drove me to it. The military, and the economy wasn't that great at the time in 2007 when I joined, so that's when I was like, I gotta change. And that's a huge change to make at the age of 30. So originally when I joined the military, I was a 63 Bravo, turned into 91 Bravo. So that's a mechanic, a diesel mechanic, wheeled mechanic, but we could work on anything, generators, track, whatever. So on the FOBs, we didn't do, to be honest with you, we didn't do a whole lot. We might have to pull some security every now and again. But for the most part, my responsibility was making sure the vehicles were FMC, fully mission capable to go on the road. My soldiers and I had 2 soldiers, and we would prep those vehicles to go out. One was the medic that I had. We made sure his bags were ready to go. Just making sure everything was FMC on the FOBs before we would go out. Those were the big things. And then coming back, making sure anything that had battle damage or anything that needed to be repaired got to where it needed to go, and that we got it fixed to get ready for the next mission. One of the hardest days during one of my deployments was I lost a soldier. He actually wasn't under my supervision, but he was a soldier of ours, my buddy and I, that we on the rear, and we brought him, we put in a word to bring him forward with us, and he went with a different unit so he could go. And October the 5th, 2013, he was killed by friendly fire. Not really friendly fire, but it's what's called blue on green, or green on blue, where a tower guard had come out of the tower, and he was a local national contracted employee, killed him, and it was pretty brutal because it was like right around the corner from us where we actually were. So it's not a fond memory, but it's a memory that really drives home. Teaches you to be resilient more than anything, to a lot of different things like stress. It teaches you to, as a soldier, you have to compartmentalize a lot of stuff while you're there, and because of the fact that you still have a mission, you got to accomplish the mission. So you compartmentalize a lot of that stuff. Through the long process, taught me how to express those compartmentalized emotions and different things. So it made me a stronger person to understand the people around me, and that life is valuable, and what we have here in this country is valuable, because that's key. Just being in that uniform was made you feel like you were a part of something bigger, regardless of what you did, who you were, your ethnicity, your background, whatever. You were all part of a team. So coming home and reintegrating to that is the hardest part, because you're go, and then you come home and you just need to relax a little bit. You need to reintegrate yourselves. That's the toughest part, is getting back into that, and family life. But the other part of reintegration, and I hear a lot of people say this, and I feel the same way, is that you're going from a deployed environment where the rules are different, and then you're coming home to garrison life. And garrison life is nothing like deployed life, and it can catch up with you. I actually went to counseling. I had to go to counseling. That was big for me, was getting into the counseling and being able to address those issues. Now, I didn't do it for a while. Going to counseling for me, praying, those were big things for me. I took the uniform off 9 April 2020, and I walked in 13 April wearing what I'm wearing now, sitting in the same exact cube, doing the same exact stuff that I did before, but now as a civilian. And it was seamless for me, to that transition, and it was a tough transition, but I always say 2 of my best career decisions was A, joining the military, and then B, getting out of the military and doing what I do now. Have a plan. Plans can be broken, but put a plan in place. Have some goals. What do you actually want to do? You've got to find that common ground. You've got to find what drives you. It's not about the money. It's about a good work-life balance, and it's about your mental health and your well-being first and foremost. And those are things that I really push into my staff to drive them. But that would be something I would tell a vet that's transitioning. I got here, I signed in November of 2017, so it's literally, we're 8 years ago now that I've been with the Corps, volunteering for the hard stuff, working the hard projects, volunteering for disaster missions. You know, I was in Puerto Rico for almost a year helping down there, and it was only supposed to be 120 days. I ended up being down there for almost a year. And then coming home and just passing that knowledge on to the folks that I worked with. As a soldier, a lot of people looked up to me as a soldier because of, you know, what I brought to the table with my knowledge in contracting, but also because of my demeanor. So it really, you know, coming to the Corps was you know, a godsend at the time, getting orders to come here. You're constantly building, but with the Corps of Engineers, it's not as much directly supporting a warfighter. Now you're supporting states. You're supporting industry. You're supporting common movement. You know, the waterways, the dams, the locks, because that's what my section does. You know, the civil and operations. We make sure those locks and dams, you know, stay functional by supporting the teams out there on those sites. We are part of a professional government, is how I see it. I'm not just you know, a mechanic anymore. I'm not just a guy that wears a uniform. Now I'm directly supporting these entities. The Corps of Engineers supports the infrastructure of the country. You know, I've heard people call it, we're the top construction firm for the United States of America. We're the top design firm for the United States of America. A lot of people don't understand that the Corps of Engineers is the go-to organization when it comes to disaster relief. You know, when we bring people in, new folks or even soldiers that come in and we explain that to them, they're like, I didn't know. Anytime you see a FEMA, there's the Corps of Engineers. And we're usually there with FEMA when the disasters happen. So I see the Corps of Engineers as, if you will, kind of the backbone of the company or the country's infrastructure, just like the military is the backbone of the country's defense. So they'll defend, we'll build. What's important is obviously executing the mission, but the success is networking, building relationship, and managing expectations. That's what we talk about as a team. Those are the things that we see as success. You know, a lot of folks don't realize, you know, Veterans Day is for those that are serving or have served, and or are serving, and they don't realize that the difference between Veterans and Memorial Day. You know, Memorial Day is remembrance, Veterans Day is to celebrate where you're at. So it's just a celebration of service is a big part for me. You did the hard part. You joined the military, the greatest fighting force in the world. You served your time. Regardless of how you served the country. You know, have some intestinal fortitude and ask for help. That's the biggest problem a veteran has. You sign up to die for your country, but those that are still around take pride in your country. And that's what I do. I take pride in this country. And as far as the Corps of Engineers and what I do for the Corps of Engineers and what the Corps has done for me is how I look at it. You know, it's not just as much what I do for the Corps, it's what the Corps does for me. It gives me a purpose to get up in the morning sometimes because I get to come to work and I get to work with phenomenal people, phenomenal leadership. I get to take part in something way bigger than me. You know, the Louisville District is the top district, I would say, in the country. Out of the enterprise with what we do here and the programs that we support. And so just knowing that I'm a part of that's a big piece. That hits me hard right here in my heart, you know. And it's not so much my head, it's my heart, because I'm a part of something huge. It's not big, it's huge. And if you can get everybody to build on that, everybody to buy into that, where are you going to go wrong? And that's why I thoroughly enjoy working for the Corps of Engineers.
Perfect. Whoa. We got it!